What's up, Otakus? We're live. Um, Hope everybody had a great week. So I'm gonna just wait a little bit for people to pop in, and while we wait, I guess just go over my week and kind of outline um, what the hall is about. Um, I earlier in the week, I was down near Auburn, so I thought I'm really trying to get that classic X-Men, and I figured Hilla Comics, which they have a huge back issue, probably the most comprehensive back issue um, in Western Washington, because they've got a location up north. I think it's closer to Bellingham, maybe Everett. I've never been up the north location. I've only been in the south. And this, the one in Auburn has a fairly decent sized uh, back issue, uh, inventory. So I'm having a weird hair day today. Um, gotta cut my hair. But anyway, we went there to look for the classic X-Men 39. Been looking for that book since I want to say it's been like 2-3 months. I'm at this point. I'm just like gonna buy it online. I mean, we'll see. And this is not going to be the last haul of the year. I wouldn't. So let me back up. I have a book reserved at Destiny City Comics in Tacoma. And so I am planning to go there next week. And we'll see how that goes. I'm planning to go there, but that's largely based on what my work schedule will look like. But I'm thinking like it'll definitely be doable. But there's no guarantee. I'm kind of banking on it, but there's no guarantee. So anyway, that will probably be the last pickup. I'm going to pick up that book, going to do some digging, and whatever we pick up, I've got about $20 left in the budget now. Whatever we pick up there will be the last of it. Now, I do have some exciting news. I am planning to kind of do part-time work again this summer on the weekends, and build budget up for another summer of picking up comic books. And so we're going to focus on picking up big books this time, things that are largely, we'll still pick up Jim Lee books, but we're going to try to pick up, some of the larger keys that I haven't been able to really focus on because of budget. So I'm pretty excited about that. And at this point, unless they announce Jim Lee and Mark Silvestri, well, if they announce Jim Lee, that it's going to change the calculus of it. But unless, so there's basically 3 artists. If they're announced for Emerald City Comic Con, it's going to force my hand to try and go. That's Peach Momoko, Jim Lee, or Mark Silvestri. If any of those artists, or John Byrne, so if any of 4 of those artists, John Byrne's probably not going to come. But the other 3, there's a possibility that they could go. No announcement yet, but they're usually announced later. But I looked at Emerald City ticket prices, and they raised prices quite substantially from last year. Um, so it's going to be, I mean, we'll see. I don't think I'm going to be able to make it. Um, and again, that's fine. I don't really necessarily want to go unless one of those three artists come. So I'm really hoping none of them show up, because that increases the odds that they'll come probably in the next con, and hopefully we'll have budget at that point. um it's Friday, it's the weekend before Christmas, and for those of you wondering, hey, why aren't you spending time with your family and all that? Well, my wife and my son, they met up with some of their kind of play friends. So my wife's friend and her are taking the kids up to where was it? I think they're going up to Anacortes, and there's some kind of like Christmas light display going on. It's really it happens every year, but you can drive through, and it's just this course of like a huge Christmas light display. So yeah, they're gonna go up and do that and come back down, and my wife and my son are gonna spend the night at their house. I had work, so I couldn't take off for that. But I did go and buy comic books. So, but either way, I did. It wasn't one of those things where like I could have gone. It was just like a thing that those moms planned, and they're having fun. So that's fine. I'm doing this tonight. I'm gonna kind of go over the books I picked up, and the finale is gonna be unboxing this package. We'll get to that in a minute. So as I was mentioning earlier in the week, I had some work down in Auburn. I went to Hello Comics. I picked up 3 books, okay, for $5, and then we went to Destiny City Comic. We went to Mill Geek Comics today and picked up roughly, I think, 16 books for $21. So we paid $26 for, what is that, 19 books, which if you do the math, I'm going to just do the math here real quick. $26, 19 books. It works out to about $1.36 a book. So we paid $1.36 a book. And I'll go over the exact, because some of these we paid a little bit more. Others we paid 50 cents. Most of these we paid 50 cents. But some of them we paid, the most we paid was $3. The least we paid was 50 cents. And then the books from Hello Comics were about $1.60 or so. So we'll get into what we picked up. Yeah, let's just get going. Looks like waiting for people in the chat's going to be a little difficult given our late start time and that it's Christmas weekend. You shouldn't be watching YouTube videos on Christmas weekend. All right, here we go. The first book. This was just a flat out cover buy because I've been meaning to get this. I've been meaning to get this entire series because of the great artwork in it. But it's also something like I love the artwork, but it's also not like in my mainstay of collections. So I thought if I'm gonna pick it up, it has to be, you know, for cheap. And I'm now even just thinking I probably won't pick up the entire thing. Um, I think these first three covers should be fine. But we picked up Justice #1. This is the villains variant cover. The other version is the heroes, and it's actually a connecting cover. So this is the second part of that heroes versus villains connecting cover. So we picked up Justice #1 and Justice #2. Really great Alex Ross covers there for 50 cents each. So, for 50 cents, I was like, yeah, um, these are books that we can add to our Alex Ross collection. Our Alex Ross collection is actually not, I mean, it's pretty decent size now. I mean, it's not like I go out of my way to collect Alex Ross, but definitely, for Alex Ross, it's cover buys, and we try to pick up the covers that really are really cool. And in fact, I want to go to Redmond. Hey, what's up, Miss So? I have an interview. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Yeah, it's a lot of network issues. I think being the end of the year and stuff. A lot of people use it, hopping online and shopping and doing whatever. So I'm sure there's some network issues plaguing companies right now. But yeah, okay. So we went with Justice 1 and Justice 2, 50 cents each. Really, I'm pretty much pleased with this. I do have some buyer's remorse, and we'll get into my buyer's remorse when we get to the books that, in hindsight, I'm thinking I shouldn't have picked up. But definitely these, I feel good about it. Nothing remorseful about the Alex Ross pickups. This one I'm glad I picked up too. It's just a great. It's just a great cover, and it's Adventures of Superman 498. Got that great shot of Superman, the death of Superman there. The sort of the aftermath of his fight with Doomsday. And this is a newsstand, and it's the first part of Funeral for a Friend. So, this is just nostalgia for me, and so I thought, why not? It's a newsstand edition, pretty decent condition too. I put in the near mint or VF plus near mint range. Okay, now we're going to get into some of the remorse books. This one, this one's kind of a little bit of a spec buy, and I don't know why I picked it up. I don't think there's much behind the spec, but I know Rob Liefeld released some kind of Blood Strike trailer, and it got people excited. And this book is just kind of a nostalgia buy as well, because this has you can rub the blood, and there's blood on the cover, and you can actually rub it and make it kind of more pronounced. But this is Blood Strike #1. Now, when we picked it up, we thought it was really the condition was really good, and it is. It's like a near mint book until you get to the corner here and you see there's a bend, like a color breaking bend. And the reason I didn't see that, because in the bag it was kind of scuffed on the bag, which is how that damage happened. And so through the bag you couldn't see it, but then when you took it out of the bag, it was really evident there. So you can see the bend. So I mean, this is not, that. I mean, it's still like in the VF range. Um, I would still consider it a $10 book if um, for the first appearances and that this is just a 90s classic image book. But we'll have to see what happens with the with this content. Hopefully, I know they've made announcements like Prophet. They're going to do a movie about Prophet. They're going to do a series on Bloodstrike. All these kind of things pop up. Yeah, I mean, so my wife and my son, they're currently up north. Well, they should be in Bothell. Well, they should be heading back from Anacortes. They went to Anacortes for this like Christmas lights display. Apparently, you can just drive through this course, and you don't have to wear seatbelts, so the kids can kind of press up against the windows, and it's just a very slow driving course through Christmas lights. And then my wife and my kid are going to stay with those friends. They're going to drive back down, stay with them in Bothell, and just spend the night there and come back tomorrow morning. So I'm just kind of hanging out. And of course, Christmas morning, we're just going to open Leo's presents and just have dinner and stay at home. No big plans. We don't want to necessarily go out and have to deal with crowds, because I imagine there are going to be a lot of crowds wherever you go. So yeah, just spend a quiet time at home. The weather is not great though here in the Pacific Northwest. First off, it's like just wet. It's just been wet today. Hopefully it dries up. I haven't checked the weather, but if it's gonna just rain all weekend, it just makes sense to stay in. All right, so yeah, this was definitely a book I have a little bit of remorse buying. But that's fine. For 50 cents, we're not going to complain. All right. This next one is not a book I have remorse buying. I actually was so glad I found it, especially given, sort of this series, the Giffen DeMatteis Justice League runs are sort of getting hot because of it looks like James Gunn is kind of incorporating a lot of this material into what the DCU will look like. So, it bodes well. So, as you know, earlier this year, I picked up this book. I picked up this book for 25 cents at Jeff's Ancient Comics, which is no longer around. And I got it signed by Kevin Maguire. I was like, bam, this is just an awesome Kevin Maguire cover. Lobo kind of bullying Guy Gardner there. And one thing I regret was like, oh man, there's a compliment to this cover. And I was just always kind of in the back of my head, like, oh, I wish I had gotten that signed. And we wanted to pick it up. So it was kind of like in the back of my head today. I definitely went into, Mill Geek Comics today with a couple of books in mind. We didn't get any of the books that I had in mind except this one. But it's not in the best condition. It definitely needs a press, but we don't really care that much. It still presents really well. You can see the crease right there along the spine. Newsstand copy of JLI number 19, which is the follow-up issue, and the tables are turned here. And so, yeah, it's just a nice kind of complimentary. So we picked this one up, number 19 newsstand. I'm really happy about it. So it just feels complete now. And these books are kind of spiking up in popularity. I don't know if they'll retain, because these are 90s books, right? So they're not going to retain a lot of value, but it's nice to know that people are going out and looking for these books now. So that's pretty cool. All right, this next one, these next two are remorse buys, and they're remorse buys. Normally, I'm not remorseful about buying Jim Lee, right? But these are Jim Lee remorse buys because I've already got two copies of this X Factor. This is my third copy, and I really didn't need a third. I mean, I've already got a newsstand. Didn't really need a second newsstand. But for some reason, I just wanted to pick it up. So we picked up another copy of Jim's cover on X Factor. Now, hopefully, I can trade. If someone wants like cool Jim Lee covers and you want to trade, I'm definitely down. I'm gonna probably put out sort of a trade video. These are available for trade kind of thing, and hopefully people watch that and respond to that. But this is on the. I don't know if this copy's on the trading block, but one of the three that I have will be on the trading block. So if you're interested, hit me up. All right, the next one is another one. We picked up our fourth copy of Darker Image. So as you can see, I have two newsstand copies, and I have two polybagged copies. One with the Death Blow card, which is really the card we wanted. And then today we ran into the Max card, so I thought that's a cool card to add as well. I also just love these, the back J. Lee covers there. So, I've got like 4 copies now. This is the first appearance of the Max and Deadpool. No, it's not the first appearance of the Max, but it's the first appearance of the Deadpool. Sam Keith, Jim Lee, Rob Liefeld on a book together, and you got Jay Lee on the back. Just for me, a cool book to own, but at the same time, we didn't need these copies. I probably should have picked up. I had a couple Death Blow books that I probably should have gotten instead. But it is what it is. I'm not gonna for 50 cents adding some additional Jim Lee stuff. Especially, this book has the potential to. This book has the potential to really spike if some of the Wildstorm stuff does come to the DCU, which I anticipate, which is what I'm banking on, kind of. All right, so we have so far. So the Jim Lee collection is now up to 278. We have. This is not counting doubles. This is just standalone single books. We have 278 Jim Lee books now, and these are the 3 books we added to get there. 76, Divine Right, number 3. $277, and I really like this cover. Divine Right number 6. Got the bikini cover. And Divine Right number 9. This is another cool cover too. yeah. I mean, this is just, you know, there's no spec behind this one. This isn't really anything that's going to go anywhere. Kind of lived and died in the 90s on a brief run, but these are must-haves if you're a Jim Lee collector, right? If you're a Jim Lee collector, this is the stuff you have to kind of go after. Divine Right. We're trying to pick up at least the first 12 issues of Divine Right. But again, we're going to do it in quarter bins or the 25-cent bins. We're not going to pay like over $1 for these books, which is what we stuck to. All right. Yeah, we're getting kind of down. We're counting down. So everything pretty much I showed up to now was for 50 cents, right? Everything here we bought for 50 cents. This is the first book. So we got this at Mill Geek, and we paid $3 for it. We definitely overpaid for it, I feel like. Or not, we paid what it's worth. Let's put it that way. We paid what it's worth. It's a VF copy, VF newsstand copy, Fantastic Four, 280. But this is a cover that I've been just meaning to pick up. This is one of the cooler covers in this run. And there are a lot of cool covers in the Fantastic Four run, but this is definitely one of the cooler ones. And that's Sue Richards reaching out for this smoldering Doom mask right there. So, yeah, this was just, I figured, for $3, given all the 50-cent pickups we had, this wasn't too big of an up spending. So we got that. Like I said, we went to Hilla Comics. We picked up this one for $1.60 or so, and that's $2.77. This is a key issue. It's also newsstand. I put the grade in the VF range again. Picked this up again for $1.60. Thought that was decent of a like the burn. If we're picking up in the $2 range, we feel good about that. When we're paying like $3, it's but given if we work out the math with all the 50-cent books. Again, paid $1.30 for every book here, so makes it a little bit easier to stomach. This is another we paid $1.60 at Hilla Comics. I was hoping to get a newsstand, but we got the direct. That's fine, but it's just a great cover of Superboy versus Superman. I have an older book, Adventure Comics, of them kind of getting into it. This is the Action Comics one. So just cool covers when Superboy and Superman are kind of in the same plane of existence. It's always a cool story or outcome. So this next one, again, picked up a Hill Comics for like $1.60. And when I saw the cover, I was like, wow, I gotta pick it up. And it's this, I think it's a 6-part series. It's Superman, the Coming of Supermen. And I'm assuming these are they're obviously Kryptonians, but maybe they're like Kandorians or somebody. I haven't read this necessarily, but it's just this really cool cover by Neil Adams. I really like the Superman there. Like, forget the background Supermen. It's his Superman, that Kal-El there. That's really cool. That really captivated my attention when I ran across this. And I was like, wow, a great cover by Neil Adams. So, I was happy to pick up this book. This was work done by Neil in 2016. So, fairly recent, I guess, not too Not too far removed from 2016. It does feel like a long time ago, 2016. So much has happened in my life since that period. But that was just a cover by and another thing to add to our Neil collection. All right, we're going to get to kind of the bigger books now, and our book of the haul. So we first off, when we picked up the books at Mill Geek, they had a stack of free signed books, and I was like, "Oh, are these free?" And John there was like, "Yeah, you can take two, you can take up to one copy each." Apparently, Johnny Desjardins, who's a friend of the shop, who's a friend of Tom, Comic Tom 101, came and signed a bunch of copies and gave them out as like promotional books. And so I got two free signed books of Darkwing Duck and Maleficent, signed by these are both covers he's done. And if you've like followed their work, he does sort of the larger sort of canvas oil on canvas type comic covers, and that's what we have here. Really, really cool artwork. And again, signed books, those are always cool. So happy to pick those up. Again, Darkwing Duck #1 and Maleficent, signed by Johnny Desjardins. Got those for free. So, I figure there's some value there as well. So we got a lot of value on this haul. Now, this was really sort of the purpose of going to Mill Geek today, because we wanted to pick up this book. And I've been talking about this book ever since it was announced. And that is Batman 428, but the alternate ending. So they had two endings that they were going to publish based on a vote that comic book fans would call in and vote. And back then it was like the touch tone, and you would like dial 1 if you wanted him to live, or dial 2 if you wanted him to die, something like that. I remember calling him. I wanted him to live. I wanted this book to be published, but I got outvoted and Russ was telling me he voted to kill him off. So apparently more comic book fans wanted that than the latter. So we never got the Jason Todd Lives book until now. DC released their lot, and they kept the same Mignola cover, but Batman Robin Lives. It's the ending, the alternate ending, not the continuity ending, the alternate ending. But we finally get to figure out what happens. So that is really freaking cool. This was just like, this could have been the book of the haul, but yeah, it's just a special book. Definitely takes me back to that period when, this was a violent book. So the fact that they killed him off, like, that was it just was a darker time back then, late 80s. All right. This also could have been the book of the haul. And it's this great Neil Adams cover of the Superman family. I think it's not like he did a run of this or anything. It was just like a one-off cover feature. And this one it's 80 pages. This is from what I think it's in the late 70s. But what's interesting about this is, or no, maybe this was in the 80s. I think it was in the 80s. But what's interesting about this is it's Neil Adams on a Superman family book, and it's Jimmy Olsen beating up Superman. Why isn't the focus working here? There we go. Watch out, Superman. I don't want to fight you with my super weapons, but I can't control them. So, um, this one, the grade is, you know, first of all, it's like sort of torn at the staples there, but it's attached. Um, and the back, there's like minor creases all throughout the book. It was obviously a reader's copy. No major creases though. That's kind of cool. I just know, if this is a book I would send to Roger, and I know if he worked on it, it would just come back looking a lot better, because it's definitely in dire need of a press, and it's got a lot of this sort of like indentations at the top. So like if you were to get that, I mean, obviously there are some color breaks there, here and there. That can't be really resolved, but in terms of just like cleaning and getting a good press, and this would really help this book out. But even if we don't get that, it's just a cool. I really like this bottom panel there by Neil. You got Crypto, Supergirl. Looks like oh, what's the editor's name? It's not coming to me. Anyway, Superman's editor. And yeah, just a really, really cool Neil Adams book. I dug through the entire. So if you've ever been to Mill Geek, they've got the 50-cent bins, and then they've got the $3 bins. The $3 bins can contain Golden Age, can contain Silver Age, a lot of bronze, a lot of copper, all for $3. But usually the Silver Age stuff. I mean, this is the thing. If you go in when they've kind of refreshed a new stock of stuff, you can get really lucky and get maybe higher grade Silver Age books for $3. And that's kind of the intent we had going through. We wanted to look for Neil Adams. You want to look for like decent Silver Age books, or just books that we wanted. But we didn't find all too much. I dug through everything though. And there was a lot of stuff we kind of left because for $3, we're just thinking, we want the book, but for $3, it wasn't, it wasn't something we wanted to pick up. So, yeah, this could have been the book of the haul. Now, what we did pick up in the $3 book bin is the book of the haul, and we'll get into what it is. We picked up, and I kind of was dumbfounded that we would pick up this book, because this is a book I've been wanting for quite some time now. And I just kind of thought, it's not going to be a book we're ever going to find in like a $1 bin or a $50 bin or anything like, 50-cent bin. So I figured, if it ever comes to us, it'll come to us. But I just kind of like lost hope that if we were going to buy this, it would have to probably be for like $10 or so, like that. But we got it for $3 today, and that is Lone Wolf and Cub #1. Now, this is a reprint of the Japanese manga by Kazuo Koike and Goseki Kojima. Goseki Kojima is the artist in this book. And again, the cover is by Frank Miller on this American sort of reprint. This was put out by First Publishing. And again, it's a rather popular manga in Japan. and decades later, almost a decade and a half later, almost 2 decades later, they come out and publish an American version. So this is all in English. And this manga came out in 1970, and it was really popular. And then soon afterwards, they did a series of movies based on the manga. And the movies were also very popular. The movie stars, it stars Tomisa Tomisa, I want to say Nakayama, but Tomisa Wakayama. Tomisa Burao Wakayama. He's one of the most famous action stars in Japan. He's kind of like Clint Eastwood of Japan. How Clint Eastwood starred in a lot of like action roles, kind of detective roles and westerns. Tomisaburo Wakayama is also kind of in that same echelon. He did so many movies in the 60s and 70s. So, I mean, he just starred in a bunch of action movies, a lot of sort of samurai, Yakuza type characters, which are really popular. Nothing like critically acclaimed. Again, he was kind of, he wasn't like a Tom Hanks or any like a lot of range. He kind of portrayed the big tough burly guy, the guy who's just gonna beat the crap out of a lot of people, and perfect to play the character here. This story revolves around a samurai who is just gaining a lot of power and prestige among the clans, and so the sort of the larger shogunate sees him as a threat, and they send assassins to kill off his entire clan. His wife dies, and he is able to escape with his son, and he kind of wanders and remains aloof. He's kind of just this vagrant who goes about, but ultimately, like, he circles back to around where his clan was murdered, and he knows the people. He's kind of trying to figure out who masterminded this plot against him, and he kind of comes to this conclusion that he's going to get revenge. And so he's kind of, but the thing is, he's carting around this baby, so it's not like he can go out and fight. But again, I watched the first of the 6. There's 6 movies in the series. I watched the first movie where he goes into this village. They're being terrorized by these gang members, and he just literally just like kicks the crap out of all the gang members, kicks them out of town, and just leaves town. And so he goes in there. There's it's just a great movie. It's unlike anything you'll probably watch, because it's just one of those like historical action type movies. It's literally the Japanese version of their Western, right? It's just kind of like a guy who defines his own justice and protects the weak and all that. So it's a pretty cool manga and movie, and the fact that it shows up in American comic books here for the first time is really cool. Frank Miller does like an introduction, and he does the cover on this. He does I think all the covers. on this run, and there's a lot of books in this run because it's a long manga run. So I think there's like 30 or so some odd books, but this first one is a very key issue because it's the first, and that's our book of the haul right there. Was really happy to pick that up, and it's really in high grade condition too. So no signs of wear. I mean, there's a little bit of a corner, like a little bit of a corner issue there, but everything else is really clean. So really pleased with that pickup. So yeah, it was overall, like I got a lot of stuff for the PC in here. We were able to check off 3 more Jim Lee books. All in all, just a good pickup. We found some books, found some like a Neil Adams book. We found this Lone Wolf and Cub #1, which is something we've been wanting. So again, all in all, excellent haul. All right, we're gonna get to the highlight, and this is kind of, I guess, my Christmas, a little bit of a Christmas unboxing. It's early, but it is sort of like my Christmas gift to myself. And this is something we ran into on Mercari, and I just threw out an offer. It was actually quite a ridiculous offer that I threw out to the guy. He had it up for 20. He was selling it for like $22 or something like that. Maybe it's $21. He was selling it for $21, and I basically offered him $12 shipped because he had free shipping. It was $21 free shipping, and I offered him $12 shipped, and he accepted. So I was really happy. And if it's anything like it's advertised, it was money well worth. Yeah, I'm obviously gonna move it because it looks like it's been in this top loader from the day he got it because it's just really yellowed top loader, which is fine. Wow, he just like plastic wrapped it and everything. Thanks, dude. Gotta go give him that's my kitty cat. What's up, kitty? All right, so why don't I first move it, because I have it ready here. I'm gonna take an Alex Rodriguez card out and put this card in. This is a card that, again, I just kind of put out an offer. If he didn't accept, it's not like it was going to be the end of the world. But if he did accept, I mean, this is a card I think I probably would have taken for $20. Now, normally I do not buy. Oh, I see why this card was cut in a way where it doesn't. I'm gonna have to use a bigger one. Let's see if it'll fit this one. This card was cut in a way that looks like it was. The card was cut a little longer than it should be, which is making it not want to fit in this holder that we have. So let's see if it'll fit in this larger holder. I'm hoping it does. Yeah, it should fit this larger holder. I'm gonna flip it so it doesn't. There we go. Fits in that. All right, and I'll show you what it is once we get in the holder. It's a beautiful card. We picked up Jim Lee Wildcats, Series 3, number 3, but it's a signed. I wish this, yeah, there we go. It's a signed card. Look at that. So yeah, for a signed card for $12, I was like, that's pretty good. Because you know how much Jim Lee signatures are going for these days, right? They're going from 50. If you're doing CGC, it's going to cost you like $120 for a signed slabbed comic book. If you just get a probably raw signature at a show, it's going to cost you $50. So to get a 90 signature on a 90s card that obviously, if you look at the case here, you can tell it's literally been sitting in this card case, and this card case is like very yellow, which is what happens when plastic just ages. So it's a mint card. We have it in a nice case, folding case there. There's the back of the card. And there's the front of the card, the whole team. Boom. There you go. That is pretty much the all the pretty much what she wrote for this haul. Again, like, we had just fun. I had fun hanging out with Russ and talking Mariners. We both think the Mariners are, I guess we get into baseball as I kind of wrap up this haul video. But yeah, the Mariners haven't done anything in the winter so far, and it's not looking good. I think the fans are holding out for possibly Jorge Soler, which is not all that exciting. Or they're holding out for Cody Bellinger, which is a little bit more exciting, but it's not a slam dunk. It's not like he's going to repeat. He had a good season last year, but even if he were to repeat last season, it's not that great. And he's not, in terms of his, productivity, he may have a couple more good years, but anyway, it's just not looking good. And to get Bellinger, we're gonna have to spend, we're gonna have to give him upwards of, probably in the higher echelon free agent salaries. So, something in like somewhere in $5-6 million range, I would imagine, which isn't cheap. And so at that price, he has to be like, he has to at least hit 30 home runs and drive in 100 RBIs, right? So if he doesn't do that, then, it's kind of like, what's the point of getting him, right? The Dodgers look really good. They picked up Yoshinobu, who is signed for 12 years. I mean, I think they were just so they were on the high of selling, of buying or getting Shohei Ohtani, that it looks like Ohtani wanted Yoshinobu, right? So, and Yoshinobu is undoubtedly going to be a Cy Young caliber pitcher for the next 3 to 4 seasons. but 12 seasons to have that kind of longevity is, I think, a little bit too optimistic. They probably would have been better signing him for, like, I don't know, maybe 7 years. But it looks like he had just so many different options. The Mets, the Yankees, everybody wanted him, right? So the only way the Dodgers could get him was for 300, like literally, Shohei's pitching contract. Because basically, if you split the pitching contract um, with his hitting contract, it's about 350 per, right? So they gave him about 320 million for across 12 years, which is freaking ridiculous. So they've got $1 billion payroll over the next decade. Obviously, Shohei's deferred almost 90% of that. Was it 98% of that? Something ridiculous like that to after his playing days. Yoshinobu probably deferred just a fraction of it, so they'll probably be paying a lot for his contract, at least in the first couple of years. But yeah, I mean, it's just ridiculous. They've landed two of the best players from Japan. They're probably going to go after. I think his name's Sasaki. They're probably going to go after him next year. He's slated to come to the U.S. next season, and so if they land him, it's just going to be this it's going to be Team Japan basically from the pitching, and that's not a bad thing if you're looking at it from the pitcher's perspective. So yeah, there's just a lot of just a big, it's a big disturbance in baseball right now. I don't see anybody. To be honest, I don't see how the Dodgers can lose this season, assuming Shohei has the same kind of production he had last season, and assuming Yoshinobu comes in and he's just focused and starts and puts up the numbers he put up in Japan. If those two things happen, man, it's just going to be really, really difficult for anybody to beat the Dodgers. So, given all that, I think that's just deflated. Anything we can do this offseason, it's just the whole league has just been deflated. I can't see how, if you're a Yankees fan, you're optimistic you can beat the Dodgers. I don't see how anybody right now at this point can be optimistic they could beat the Dodgers. The Dodgers have just definitely they've won this winter's free agency for sure. What else? What else is there to yammer about? Trying to think. I guess there's not much. Oh yeah. We are going to do the next video. So I'll probably do it tomorrow night. But we'll do the top pickups of 2023, and I'm going to do rank from numbers 40 to 21, so the next 20. I did 60 through 41. We're going to do 40 through 21, and then before the year's out, we'll do the top 20 pickups. So keep your eyes out open for those. Again, I don't have much more to share, except I'll just review what we picked up today. We picked up this awesome signed metal foil card The Wildcats from the 90s. It's actually from, what is it? Man, my eyes are bad. 1993 or something. It looks like 1993. And again, we picked up Lone Wolf and Cub #1. Just very happy with that. All right. Thanks for joining, guys. Thanks for hanging out, Miss So. Always appreciate you. Happy holidays. And yeah, hopefully you put out some videos soon. I know you've been, you put out a couple like shorts and stuff, but hopefully you do more. I would definitely tune in to see and hang out with you virtually. But other than that, yeah, happy holidays, take care, and we'll see you in the next one. Otakus, tour guide out.